Good morning, class. Let me recapitulate the previous class that we have done. In our last class, we have seen about the chemical changes, its definition, characteristics of a chemical change, characteristics of a chemical change, and then examples. Okay, so we came to know from the definition of chemical change. A chemical change is the permanent change in which a new substance are formed, whose chemical compositions are completely different from the reactants, we can say. And in our last assignment, that was assignment number 10, I've given you the question differentiate between the physical and chemical changes. Just to make you clear, physical change is a change in which no new substance is formed, whereas in chemical change result in the formation of one or more new substances. Change in physical properties, that is a state, will take place in physical change. Change in chemical properties. Physical change is reversible, that means we can bring it forward as well as backward. Say for example, if you carried out melting of ice, so when you melt ice, it will convert into water. Once again, by decreasing the temperature, we can convert water into ice. That process we call reversible, two-way process. Chemical change, whereas chemical change is irreversible, it cannot be reversed. Composition of matter does not change in physical change, whereas composition of matter changes, not accompanied by large energy changes, example heat and light. So when a physical change takes place, there is no involvement of large amount of energy. There will be a small amount of energy change involved in it, whereas in case of chemical change, it accompanies by large energy changes. Example of physical change, freezing of water, whereas in chemical change, it's burning of wood. So these are the basic difference between the physical and chemical changes. And I have given you the second question was classify the following changes into physical and chemical changes. Just those who have done mistake, just correct it by seeing over here. Digestion of food is a chemical change. Sublimation of iron, it is a physical change. Burning of a candle, chemical change. Rusting of iron, chemical change. Breaking glass, physical change. Explosion of firecracker, chemical change. Ripening of fruits, chemical change. And freezing of water, physical change. So these are the classifications of the given examples, whether it is a physical change or chemical change. Now today's topic, today we are going to discuss about changes involving energy. That means how the changes takes place in a how the energy change takes place when the changes takes place. Then we'll discuss about energy changes in a physical change and energy changes in a chemical change. Now, during a change, energy is generally evolved or absorbed in the form of heat, light, sound, or any other form. So when any change takes place, there is involvement of energy. Either it gets absorbed or it gets evolved, and the energy can be in the form of heat, light, sound, or any other form. Energy changes may take place when there is a physical or chemical change. So there might be an energy change when if a physical change or chemical changes takes place. Now, energy changes in a physical change. That means how there is a change in energy when you have got a physical change. Usually, in a physical change, we know that there is a change of state either from solid to liquid or from liquid to gas, and dissolving of a substance in a liquid, that is a physical change. Now, in this, the main involvement is the heat energy. Say, for example, when you melt ice, it requires heat. That means it absorbs heat and convert into the liquid form. So, in a physical change, there is a mainly involvement of heat energy. Examples of physical change where we can see the involvement of heat energy. In absorption of heat energy, that means the examples where we can see the absorption, where heat get absorbed. Example, ice while melting absorbs heat energy. Next, water while boiling absorbs heat energy. These are the two examples where you can see that in the physical change there is absorption of heat energy. Next, examples of physical change where you can see the release of heat energy. Example, water while freezing releases heat energy. So when water converts into a solid form, that is ice, it releases heat energy. And water vapor while condensing releases heat energy. And once again, when the water vapor converts into the liquid form, in the process of condensation, it releases heat energy. So these two are the examples where we can see that in the physical change there is a release of heat energy. Next, energy changes in a chemical change. Now, energy change in a physical change is comparatively very small as compared to energy change in a chemical change. So energy is released in some chemical changes while in others it is absorbed. And on the basis of that too, it has been classified in two types: endothermic change and exothermic change. Now let us see what is endothermic change and what is exothermic change. These are the two important topics. Endothermic change. First we will see endothermic change. So endothermic change means when a chemical change takes place with the absorption of heat energy, the change is said to be endothermic change. So wherever a chemical change is taking place and if it involves the absorption of heat energy, then that change we can call it endothermic energy. Say for example, energy in the form of sunlight is absorbed in the process of photosynthesis. So during photosynthesis process, where plants prepare their food by the use of carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll as a pigment to form a glucose as a byproduct. Here the form of energy that will be utilized will be the sunlight. Next, when ammonium chloride NH4Cl is dissolved in water, an endothermic change takes place. So when you dissolve this ammonium chloride compound in water, there is an absorption of heat energy. So when the absorption of heat energy takes place, we can say the solution becomes cold since there is absorption of heat energy. Next, exothermic change. When a change takes place with the evolution of heat energy, the change is said to be exothermic. So when any kind of change which involves the evolution or the release of heat energy, the change is said to be exothermic. So endo means absorption, exo means liberation, we can say. Example, energy in the form of heat is released when water is added to quicklime or calcium oxide. This is our practical experience. So uh, when we add water to quicklime or calcium oxide, even in cold water, you'll find that the whole solution starts boiling. That was because the heat was generated as the reaction of that too. That reaction we can classify as a exothermic change. Other example is neutralization reaction. Neutralization reaction means when an acid reacts with a base, salt and water is produced. Along with that, heat is also get evolved. So it is also an example of exothermic change. Now today's assignment number 11. Question number 1. Explain the change of heat energy in a physical change. So you need to explain how the heat energy change takes place in a physical change along with examples. Question number 2. Define endothermic change, give two examples. So define first endothermic change and give two examples. Question number 3. Define exothermic change, give two examples. And lastly, question number 4. Differentiate between endothermic and exothermic change. So make a column and write down at least two differences between endothermic and exothermic change. So complete this assignment and send it in my mail. Thank you.